Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing a 3 looks 1 palette with this, which I am scared to pronounce now because of my first impression video. I asked you guys to teach me how to pronounce this, and I literally got 10 different people saying 10 different things and everybody saying they spoke French, and here I am like, I still don't know. So I think it's Ace Beaute? Ace Beaute? Ace Beau. It's Beau, right? It's not Boo, it's not Beau, it's Beau. So Beaute? Is that it? Ace Beaute? Anyway, today we're going to be doing 3 looks with this Ace Beaute palette, so if you have not already seen what this palette looks like, it's absolutely stunning. I will link my first impression up in the corner if you want to go check that out. And a lot of you also asked if I could do some comparisons with the Affinity 2 palette, which looks like this, so I will do that at the end of the video. I will do some swatches and stuff and show you if you need both or if just getting one is okay. Obviously, I need both because I'm crazy. But you probably don't need both, so I will help you out with that decision at the end of the video. So also, I did already film this intro before look number 1, and I'm now about to film look number 2, so if my outfit looks different and I'm jumping around a little bit, that's why, because I forgot to say some things in the intro that I filmed yesterday, so I had to refilm it. So that's where we're at, and I think we should just go ahead and jump into look number 1. I don't think I have anything else I need to say, so let's just do that. Let's get into look number 1 because I want to put some eyeshadows on my eyes, and this palette is just so beautiful that it's just gonna be a good time, you know? And for my primer, I'll be using my MAC Paint Pot and Soft Ochre for all of these looks, which is what I always used to prime my eyes with. So if you didn't already see my first impression video, I was having a bit of a hard time with this palette because I tried to layer a dark matte on top of a lighter matte. So apparently this is not the right formula that you can really like build up shadows with. So I'm going to be doing it the opposite probably in these 3 looks. So I'll be starting with my darkest shade and then going lighter. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take Blue Clam, and I'm going to start by putting this in my outer corner as well as pull it through my crease. And then I think I'm going to use the shadow right here to blend that out with. I might use this, one of these two anyway, but I'm first going to start off by taking this dark blue. And I'm going to be placing this first in the outer corner, just packing on the shadow with a very dense kind of fluffy brush. And I'm also going to be placing this all the way through my crease here, kind of low down, because I am going to go in and blend with one of the other 2 shadows. I am going to just slightly blend this color, just so that it's easier for the other one to kind of lay on top. And I do love the pigmentation in this shadow. I mean, that is very vibrant and very bright, and I am so here for that. And that was actually so easy. That was so quick. And this is literally like the perfect kind of blue primary color. I don't know if I have a color like this in my collection that I like anyway. I can't really think of any. So I'm very excited about this shadow. And so far, no issues with this. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a bit of a smaller tapered fluffy brush, and I'm going to dip into, which shadow do I want to do? Do I kind of want to go more on like the turquoisey side today, or do I want to go more blue? I'm thinking I kind of want to go more blue, so I'm going to take the shadow here, which I tried to basically do the same combination in my first impression, but I did it on my lower lash line, and I was having a hard time getting this shade to show up. So hopefully using it on top of a unset primer that I, have on my lid now, this is going to show up a little bit better. So I'm just going to go ahead and run that right above that blue shadow. And this is definitely showing up a lot better on my lid here when I haven't set my primer than it did on my lower lash line, so that's always good. But I mean, I kind of expected that. It's the pastel-y color, so they just tend to need a little bit of extra help. So that blended out beautifully. I think that worked really, really nicely. So let's see, what do I want to do with this look? Do I just want to kind of keep this look blue? I could definitely do that. So maybe that is what I'll do. I think I'm going to actually go ahead and take that same blue shadow and pull it down like 2/3 of the way in on my lower lash line as well. And I'm just switching to a packing brush. Also just making sure that I'm connecting the outer corners. And I'm not even going to bother going in with that lighter shade to blend this out. I'm just going to kind of blend the shadow out on its own because I don't feel like trying to make this other color show up because it's just not really necessary. I'm just making sure that everywhere is blended and blown out the way that I like it. Oh, I really like how these blended out. That was so easy. So I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna dip into Fiji. Wow, that airplane is so loud. I feel like it's gonna crash. That's crazy. So I'm gonna dip into Fiji and I'm gonna actually put that on the rest of my lower lash line here for like a bit of an extra blue pop. Put this on pretty heavily right in here. And then we'll figure out what to do on the lid after. I'm thinking I'm gonna go in with some blue. And that'll lay down beautifully as well. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put 2 of the blue shimmers on the lid. So this is going to be a very blue look. So I'm first gonna dip into Marina and I'm going to put that on the outer half or so of the lid, and then I'm gonna use Bora Bora in my inner part of my lid. I'll probably go find something else in my inner corner because none of these shadows are really light enough to be an inner corner shade for me, but I'm gonna first start off by taking that kind of dark blue now. Having kind of a hard time picking this up on my brush, so we're gonna see how this looks on the eyes. And I'm just gonna be placing that on the outer half of my eyelid. It's not picking up the easiest on my brush. I feel like I'm kind of swirling my brush in there and it almost looks like it's creating a little bit of hard pan and it's getting kind of crumbly. Now it is a really beautiful shadow, but let me just look in the pan here. I don't know if you can see this. See the shadow right here? It's almost like it's creating a little bit of hard pan. It's having a really hard time just picking up on my brush. Let me see if I can find another brush. So maybe it's just because that was a synthetic brush. Now I haven't used like natural hair brushes very much until just recently, and I gotta say it does sometimes make a difference in how the shadows pick up and apply, and I didn't really think it made that much of a difference, but I do think that this brush picks up the shadow a lot more than my MAC synthetic brush for whatever reason. It is a little bit crumbly though. Like I feel like they're not looking the exact same on the lid. Let me try to spray this a bit more. I mean, I'm not super impressed by that shimmer, honestly. Let me try to swatch this. Even just like feeling the shadow now, it feels like it's got a bit of hard pan. I don't know, there's something about the shadow that just kind of bugs me a little bit and I have a hard time articulating why. Let's try out the other shadow instead here. And I'm just going to be placing this on the rest of my lid, basically just meeting it up with the other blue. And this shadow does have a little bit of fallout. I will say though, once you're able to put these shadows on your eyes, they are absolutely stunning. Even if I had a bit of a problem with that dark blue and it didn't really pick up on my brush, I don't know if maybe it got hard pan from me swatching it yesterday. I really don't know. But I think I'm going to put something in my inner corner and I'm going to use some of my Diamond Dew glitter by Lime Crime. This is in the shade Tearful and it's just a very light blue. Because I need a bit of a lighter inner corner, I just prefer to have a bit of an extra pop. So I'm just going to layer this right in my inner corner here. Oh, I love this glitter. It's so beautiful. Like I could just keep putting this on and it would never be enough. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just finish up the rest of my eyes. So I'm gonna put something in my waterline. I think I'm just gonna go with Fresh by LA Girl. I can't stop using this liner. I think it's so pretty. And I'm also gonna, of course, do some liner and mascara, put on some lipstick, and then I'll be right back and show you the completed look for look number 1. Okay, so here is the completed look. I really like how this turned out. I did go with Deceased by Jeffree Star on my lips, and I like this lip a lot. I think that looks really good. So I definitely have some thoughts about this palette, but I don't want to ramble in all of these looks. I will kind of like sum up in the end. So I think I'm just going to call this look number 1, and then we can get into doing look number 2 and see if I have some problems in that one too. We'll just see what happens. Alright, it is time for look number 2, and I think today I want to go green since I did blue yesterday. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by taking Turtle, which is the darkest of the green shades. This is green and this is more of like a teal. So I'm going to first dip into this and I'm going to put that in the outer corner as well as probably pull it through my crease. I think I'm going to do that. So let's just first start off by packing in the outer corner. So just like I did with look number 1, I'm starting with my darkest shade first because I don't want there to be any patchiness with these. And I actually might do like a 2-colored crease and just kind of blend this into my crease. Yeah, I'm just going to bring this all the way up because I am going to go in with another shadow on the other side or the inside of my crease here. And that blended out so seamlessly. I actually am starting to really like these mattes. I don't know if I was just having a hard time with the other one than the first look that I did in my first impression because I didn't go darkest to lightest, but having started to do that, I think that these mattes are so good. So I think what I'm going to do for like the inner part of my crease, I'm going to go into Seaweed, which is kind of like a dirty olivey green, and I'm going to put that on where, you know, in the first half of my crease, like I said. Just going to be placing that right here. So that looks absolutely beautiful. So I don't really know what I want to do on my lid here. If I want to try to cut my crease and go in with some mattes, or if I want to just try some of these green shimmers. I kind of think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also so tempted to just take Algae and put that all over my lower lash line because I'm just so in love with that shadow. But let's go in with some lid shadows first. So I think what I'm going to do, since I haven't really tried any of these greens, so I kind of want to go in with 2 of them. So I'm first going to take this one right here, which is called Anemone, and then I'm going to go into probably Jellyfish and put that on the inner half of my lid. So let's first start off by taking this one right here. Let's see if my MAC brush is going to pick up on this one. Yeah, not great. I don't know if it's because it's a synthetic brush that is just not really picking up the shimmers in this palette. I feel like these shimmers might actually be easier used with a finger or with like a sponge tip. Let me see if I can find my little sponge tip thingy. Alright, I got it. So basically this is like a silicone applicator. I got this at Sephora. It's from the Sephora collection. Let me try this one instead. Yeah, I mean, that definitely picks up on my brush so much better. I'm going to try to apply this using this without spraying it. So I'm first just going to put it like in the middle of my eye here. And just gently fading it over that green. Now let me see what happens if I spray the sponge tip. I guess it's not even really a sponge tip, it's a silicone tip. Is that a thing? Silicone applicator, silicone tip? I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, that definitely foils it a lot more. And I feel like this shadow is not as crumbly applied this way. I was having a hard time with some of the blues in my first look. They were just a little bit crumbly. Alright, so that's a beautiful color. I really, really like that. So for the inner part of my lid, I kind of wish that these 2 greens were a little bit different from each other, like these 2. I feel like they're basically the same. Like, I wish that one of them was a little bit darker. I mean, I do have this one, but this is more of a kind of blue-green. So I kind of wish that they would have differentiated these 2 greens a little bit more, but I'm going to go into this one, which was called Jellyfish. And we're going to see if they're any different on the eyes because I want to kind of place them next to each other so we can find out. So let me try this with a brush first. So this green seems to be picking up a lot better on my brush than the first green. I don't know if there's like pressing discrepancies or something and that they just, I don't know what's going on. Like, they just don't seem like they are the same formula. Like, I'm just a little bit confused by some of the shimmers in here. Because in the pan they look the same and they felt the same when I swatched them too, but some just don't pick up on my brush as easy as others. And I mean, you can definitely see on the eyes that these 2 colors are different, so maybe I take that back, but I still do wish that there was a kind of darker green shimmer in this palette instead of 2 that's almost of the same depth. Like, I just wish that this one was a tad bit different. I'm just going to dip into a little bit more of that darkest green on the outer corner here and just make sure that the blend here is looking nice. And everything blended in together super nicely today, so really happy about this. So what do I want to do on my lower lash line? Do I want to just go in with that very bright green? Is that really what I want to do? I kind of think that is what I want to do because I'm obsessed with this. So I'm just going to take Algae and I'm going to really smoke that out on my lower lash line. Okay, I love this. I think that is so pretty. So do I want to do something fun in my waterline today? I feel like every other time I've done like a green look, I've just done a green in the waterline. Maybe I'll go with a yellow today or something. Is there anything else that would look good with this? I feel like a pink could look kind of good, but I'm not really feeling pink. I'm not feeling orange. I kind of just want to go ahead and put this in my waterline. That could be fun. I mean, yellow is always fun, right? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my waterline. This is the Neon Yellow by LA Girl. It's called Screamin'. So I'm gonna put Screamin' in my waterline. I'm gonna do some liner, mascara, lipstick, and then I'll be right back and show you the finished look. Alright, so here is the completed look. For lips, I used Leo by Menagerie Cosmetics. I love this color so much with any kind of green look. I just think it goes so well with it. So that is going to be look number 2. My wing on this side got a little bit out of hand. They're definitely not even, but that happens sometimes. So not going to really tell you any more about my impressions on this palette until we are done with look number 3. So let's just go ahead and do that because I want to play more with this. And I'm starting to make up my opinions on this, but I'm still a little bit torn. So let's just move into look number 3 so that I can, play a little bit more and really figure out how I feel about this. So for this third look, I think I want to keep it kind of soft and simple. So I want to work more with like the pastels than the very dark shadows. So I want to use these two as well as these two. So don't quite know what I want to do. I think I kind of want to do just a very basic smoky eye because I just don't feel like sitting here for very long today. So I think I'm gonna just do a kind of purple smoky eye. So I'm gonna start by taking this shadow right here and put that into my crease. This one is called Bali. I feel like I've used this, but I haven't really used it at like its full potential. So I want to see what this shadow really looks like if I do pack it into my crease. So this built up and blended out really nicely. I will say I don't feel like the color is true to color on my eyes the way it is in the pan. I feel like it's looking a lot more kind of gray on my eyes, but that could just be because of my kind of yellow based eyeshadow primer too, so I don't think that's really the shadow's fault, but just something to keep in mind if you're using maybe like a concealer that's of your skin tone or anything that's a little bit on the yellow side, that maybe the shadow is not going to look as good on top of that as it does in the pan of the palette, but that's okay. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just put the shimmery shadow, which is kind of like the same color. This one which is called Bora Bora, and I'm just going to put that all over my lid. So I'm not going to be doing anything fancy here. I'm basically just going to pack this on, and I want to see if this becomes kind of crumbly again like it did in my first look. I love the look of these shimmers, but I find them to be kind of a pain in the ass to put on the eyes if I'm being honest. Like, it's hard to get a very even layer of shadow without it kind of balling up in some places or just not layering the way that I want it to. And don't come at me and tell me that I need to use my finger, because I do not like using my fingers with shimmer shadows, and I've said that many times in the past. And I don't feel like any shimmer should have to be applied using your finger. Yeah, see, like, I feel like, I don't think this is going to show up on camera, but I just feel like it's looking very kind of thickly layered on the inside here, and then on the outside is a lot more sheer. And I'm having a hard time just getting it to look the same all over my lid without putting on too much and without it being like too thick of a layer, but I don't know. I just don't think I like the shimmer formula, you guys. It also does have quite a bit of fallout. And I think one of the problems is that when I use a synthetic brush, it just doesn't pick up on my brush at all. But when I use a natural hair brush, this is a gold hair brush, it almost like picks up too much. And I can't seem to find like a middle ground where it picks up the right amount and it doesn't become all kind of crumbly on my eyelid. I don't know. Let me try another brush. So this is looking a little bit better, but again, I don't know what it is. Like, it probably looks great on camera, but I can't seem to get like an even coating of shimmer on my lid. I feel like it's just looking kind of patchy up close. And on this side again, it just, like I said before, it just kind of balls up and it's looking, I don't know if it's because it's clinging to my eyelid or what it is, but it's just looking a little bit weird. I don't like this look already. I don't know if it's because of the transition shade. I don't like this color in my crease. I feel like it's just looking a little too kind of gray blue, and I'm sure that is my eyeshadow primer's fault, but so far I don't love how this is looking at all. I am going to go into Bali though, and I'm going to see if I'm able to put this on my lower lash line. I'm probably going to go in with some eyeshadow primer first actually, just to give the shadow a really good chance to hang on to my eye, because I felt like when I used this to blend out other things, it just would not really stick to my eye and my lower lash line. So I'm just going to go in and put down a kind of thick layer of my MAC paint pot here. So I feel like I'm very much confusing myself right now, and I don't remember what I said I was going to use before I went in with the eyeshadow primer, but I think I said I was going to use Bali again, which is what I just used. That's not what I'm going to use at all. I'm going to use Fiji, which is the kind of turquoisey pastel shade. And I'm just going to go ahead and pack this all over my lower lash line. Yeah, and this is showing up so much better on top of a primer. Also just going to go ahead and blend this out. And then for my inner corner, I'm going to go into Mykonos. Is that how you say that? Mykonos? Mykonos? It's a place, right? It's a place in, I don't know, it's like an island or something. I'm so bad with geography. So I'm going to use this shadow, and I'm going to put that in my inner corner, like I just said. Oh my god, I am so just not here today. I'm just going to bring this up onto my lid as well. Alright, so this is going to be all I'm going to do for my eyeshadows. I'll surprise you with what I plan on doing for the rest of my look, because I am going to put in some unexpected pops of color with this, I think. So I will just see you when I'm back with the completed look, and then we can talk some more about the palette. I will show you some comparisons with the Affinity 2 and all that stuff, and give you my final review on the palette. So I'll be right back. Okay, so this is going to be the completed look. I am not in love with this, but I do think that a little bit of liners and stuff helped. I used a lot of things for this. So for my liner, I used You Better Work, which is a liquid lipstick by Jeffree Star. And then in my waterline, I used two eyeliners because I wasn't happy with the first one I used. So I first went in with, I think this is Piggy Bank by Colourpop, which is the same kind of shade as the one I have on my top lid, but I felt like it was a little bit too dark, and so I went over it again with a white liner also by Colourpop, and I feel like it's looking a little bit better, but I still don't like having light pink like this in my waterline. I don't know, there's something about that I just don't really jive with. So also for my lips, I used a lipstick by Betsey Johnson. This is called Malibu, and then on top of that I used my gloss. What is this called? This is the Marc Jacobs gloss stick in the shade One Mauve Time, and that is the completed look. So let's talk a little bit more about this palette. I think first I want to do some comparisons. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to first swatch all of these shimmers in the Ace Beaute palette. So I'm going to first swatch all of the shimmers in this, and then I'm going to compare it to all of the shimmers in the Certified palette. And then after I'm done with that, I will do the same with the mattes, so that you can kind of see like what the similarities are. Okay, so as you can see, there's not really a lot of similarities. So the ones that I have on this side out here are the ones from the Ace Beaute palette, and then these ones are the ones from the Certified palette. So they are quite different. The only one that's kind of duping each other is the light blue, and also these greens right here, but even those are really not like exactly the same, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna take off these swatches, and then actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna swatch another palette as well. I'm gonna take off the swatches from the Certified palette here, because I have another palette that I feel like is going to dupe these shimmers actually more than this one. So this is the Blush Tribe Hasina 2 palette. I honestly feel like some of these shimmers in here are going to be more similar to the shimmers in the Ace palette than the Certified palette. So as you can see, I want to say that there's basically three dupes in this. So we have this light blue is basically the same as this blue, the green is basically the same as the green, and the dark blue shimmer is basically the same as the other blue shimmer. So, I mean, it depends what you're looking for color story wise. I do think that this is a beautiful color story if you were looking for, you know, some greens and blues, but obviously there are more variations in tones in the Ace palette, so it just kind of depends what you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch some of the mattes now. So I will be right back, and then I will show you some more comparisons with these palettes. So I think this is very similar because this is all of the mattes in both of the palettes. So this is the Ace palette and this is the Certified palette. So as you can see, there are a lot of dupes in this, honestly. I think that you're probably going to be happy with just getting one of these palettes. I really don't think you need both. I think it just depends on what kind of formula you like the most. So let's just talk a little bit more about this Ace palette now, because I definitely have some thoughts. So definitely what I will say is that I really learned to love the mattes in this. I don't have any issues with them anymore. I really only had a problem in my first impression video when I tried to layer mattes on top of each other, but as soon as I stopped doing that, it's been totally fine, and I love how pigmented these are. I love how easily they blend out if you don't like go in and blend on other shadows. Like if you just put down one shadow and you blend it out, it's so beautiful and it's so pigmented and it's so bright and vibrant, and I love that. I will say though that it definitely probably requires a bit of a different technique to work with, so if you don't like working darkest to lightest, you're probably gonna have a bit of a hard time with this palette, but I definitely see myself reaching for a lot of these mattes in the future. Now, for the shimmers, I'm not honestly really a fan, and I'm sure you could tell that in my looks. I don't like the shimmer formula in this. There's something about them because they are so dry that they're very crumbly, and some of them are very hard to pick up on a brush, and some requires different brushes, and that's just really annoying, you know? And sometimes when you spray it, they kind of ball up. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but you know when like you put on too much and it doesn't quite blend out and it's kind of chunky on your lids, and it doesn't look very good. So personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the shimmer formula in this palette, so I mean, I wish I was, because the shimmers in here are so nice, and I still have a little bit of hard pan on this shadow right here, and I don't know why. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The palette is a little bit hard to work with, but the color story is absolutely beautiful. I think that as a formula, you might have an easier time with the Certified palette. It just depends on how you like to wear your shadows, honestly. I do think that the variety in the shimmers in this is a little bit better, because there are some lighter shimmers that can be used as an inner corner shadow, which I felt like the Ace palette was kind of missing. And this one also has some beautiful duochromes, which are just out of this world. So if you haven't already seen my review and 3 looks with this palette, I will link that in the corner if you want to check that out. But I will say that I do like this palette. Is it my favorite formula? No. Will I buy more from Ace in the future? Probably, because I really do like the pigmentation and the mattes in this now. And yeah, I think that's basically what I want to say about this. Do I think it's worth the price point though? Not so sure about that, because it was fairly expensive. I want to say I paid $38 for this. I could be wrong. I will correct myself on the screen if I am, but it was a pretty expensive palette, so I don't know if I would necessarily say it's worth the money, but it is a beautiful palette, and I am happy to be supporting another indie brand, because that's what I like to do, you know? I don't really like buying from mainstream brands because they don't need my money anyway, so I think that's going to be what I want to say about this palette. Let me know if you got this palette. Let me know how you like it. I would love to hear about it, because everybody seems to have very polarized opinions about the Ace formula. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that, because this formula is not for everyone. So I think that's going to be it. So if you want to see some more 3 looks 1 palette videos and reviews, I will put those up on the screen for you, so you can go check those out and keep watching. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.